Good morning and welcome back to White Mountains Today here on White Mountains TV 16. It is Friday, New Year's Eve, and Jack Steffen is here from Gorham Bike and Ski. Jack, how are you?
Good, Rob. Happy, or I should say not happy, but yeah, it's a happy New Year.
Happy New Year, absolutely. We're moving on, and so great to see you again. We saw you a couple weeks ago,
right?
And basically, you created my Christmas, Jack. I want to thank you for that.
Merry Christmas.
So we were here. We were talking about all the proper clothing and everything else for cross country skiing. Well, my wife was watching, and then we were talking about it. She said, "Well, that's great." So she went to see you. You outfitted. I should have just taken everything that day because basically it was but it was exactly that about what we were talking about. And I was convinced too. I said, this is exactly what I need for me to enjoy cross country skiing. So and it was great to be able to see the stuff, talk to you. And then she said the same thing. She went down there and she talked with you and other people there at Gorham Bike and Ski and just was like, yeah, they were great. It was I got what I needed. And the knowledge, that is the key, so that she didn't have to walk in and go, and like I went in and bought something for her too, just go in and go, oh, I don't know what it is. You get the help, and that's...
Yeah, I think we have a really good staff there that can really help everyone out. And we've got a really good supply of our clothing. Nothing is better than being out in those cold conditions and being able to stay warm and comfortable.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so we're going to talk about skiing today, and about cross-country skiing. And it's funny, and I'll bring it up because what you're talking about today is about, but I love my equipment.
Yeah, it really is kind of funny. We hear two things predominantly. One, oh, I love my old equipment. It's 20 years old, but I just love it. Well, I think you would love the new stuff even more. Oftentimes we find out that, over 20 years, a couple of us have maybe put on a couple of pounds, and maybe those skis that worked out really well and were sized for you back in the day, now, they've become thin, long snowshoes. And you're just kind of out, you're not getting the glide. It's a kick and glide sport, and, that's part of the reasons why the skis aren't giving you the glide. But another thing is skis lose camber over time, and sometimes you may feel that they work well, but if you go out with others and you realize that, oh, they're going further with less effort, maybe the new stuff is something for me.
Exactly.
And there's been a lot of improvements over the years too. The other question that I always get is, what is the right length ski for me? And there isn't an easy answer for that because there are so many types of skis. We've got backcountry skis, we've got touring skis, sports skis, skate skis, compact skis, skis that are meant to ski a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
And there are advantages and disadvantages to each. So really what we need to do is interview the customer, find out what their needs are and what their desires are, and then try and point them in a couple of directions and let them make the decision as to what kind of ski they want. And from there, we can really determine what that length should be for them.
Right. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And that's why, going and talking with you guys is so important, not just grabbing them off the rack and saying, here, I want these.
Sure.
And it's true really for any sport, for biking, for golf, for, paddle boarding, whatever it might be. You really need to customize. Take the time. If you're going to make an investment, and you are making an investment,
sure.
Make the right investment so then you'll enjoy it more. I'm sure you've, over the years, had people who buy equipment and then bring it back saying, I don't like this sport. And you look at it, you probably look at the equipment going, I can tell you why you don't like this sport.
Absolutely. One of the things that we often talk about are the improvements to the skis. And, just starting with the bases, for instance. It was a time where you had extruded bases, which was a solid sheet of slippery plastic. And remember when we were in grade school, we had those two panes of glass. You threw some water in between, put the panes of glass together, and you couldn't get them apart.
Right.
That was suction. And whenever you ski, you're on a microfilm of water. Actually, that was what was happening with the old skis, the extruded skis. Well, what they've done since then is they've gone to a different material. It's a sintered base, and it's a lot more porous now. And they've also put a structure. So if you look at the bottom of a modern ski, you'll see kind of a pattern in there, and that breaks the surface tension of the water. Once they put that on, people were setting new records and they're going faster than ever, and the skis became a lot more efficient. And I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Efficiency, going further with less effort. And then some people, see that and they confuse it and say, wow, she's fast. Well, yeah, she's also very efficient.
Yeah.
But another thing is the pairing system. I love to talk about Fischer's pairing system. So they'll have like 150 skis. They'll bring out the first ski, put it in, and measure it. And they measure how much it takes to almost collapse that ski. They'll measure that in 5 different places, put it in slot 1, bring out the second ski, do the same thing, follow it up with all 150 skis. At the end, they go to the computer and say, okay, match them up. And from that, they may find out that the first ski and the 14th ski are the closest. They put those together, serialize them.
Yeah.
Maybe the second and the 50th, and so on and so forth. In the old days, what they did is the first 2 skis off, well, let's see, the factory's relative humidity level, its temperature was the same. They got to be close.
Yeah.
So they'd serialize that. So the pairing's gotten an awful lot better, giving you better skiing. And the other thing is lighter construction. Fischer has some really interesting constructions, and as you start going up, you can physically see what the differences are. They've got a lot of wood core skis, and wood core has been kind of the gold standard for a long time. What they'll do is they'll put a lot of thin pieces together, glue it together on end, and then they'll mill out to lighten it up even more. And that they also have an air core where over 80% of the ski itself is air. That's really a light ski.
Yeah.
That's some of the better skis. So there's a lot of things to take into account, and I think the bottom line is the more time that you can spend in that interviewing process, the better match you're going to get between your skier and the ski itself.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I'm sure somebody might tune in and go, wow, these skis must be, wicked expensive. But yeah, there are high-end skis, but there's also, like you say with the Fischer skis, their low-end ski, we'll call it, their entry-level ski, is still a great ski.
It is, yes. And we've got some of the backcountry skis that are a little wider for more stability. A good example of that is the Spider 62 from Fischer. And that's the most popular ski Fischer has.
Really?
It is.
Well, I know backcountry has become, just as, booming.
It is. It has the metal edges, full metal edges. It's a fairly light ski. It's got a real long kick zone, so it climbs really well. That width gives you that added stability, and there's some drawbacks to this ski too compared to some of the others that are available, but it fits in the track.
Oh, interesting.
So
yeah.
it does a little of both. Now, it comes with a warning that I always give out. It fills so much of that track. If you come to a sharp turn, you have to get out and then get onto the platform. When the trail straightens out again, you can get back in. But that's pretty intuitive. I've used that ski quite a bit, and you get used to it pretty easily.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is how we determine the length of whatever model the customer wants.
Yeah.
And in the old days, we used to hold our hand up, and that was a ski for you. That always worked against me because I've always been kind of a skinny guy, And at 6 foot tall, they put me on these real stiff skis. I couldn't collapse them. I couldn't figure out why my technique was that bad, that I couldn't keep up with people climbing.
Yeah.
And really, I was on a ski that was too stiff. Nowadays, the key is your weight. And it's your weight with your clothing on, shoes on, unless you ski barefoot.
Yeah.
You know, that's
That'd be
another
interesting.
story. Yeah. So, you know, we take it, you know, some people want to ski with a pack, for instance. We try and take that into account and then try and pick the best ski for them. In some instances, the lower end skis, for instance, we call it a t-shirt sizing. They have skis that are small, medium, large, extra large.
Yeah.
And then there's a pretty big range for each of them, depending upon which, you know, what your weight is, will put you in the appropriate ski. When you start getting to the sports skis, the race skis, it's a little more technical. Now Fisher takes that information from their computer and they put on a number that tells me how soft or how stiff that ski is. So I can take the skier's weight, convert it to kilos, and then a percentage of that is used to find out the middle of a range. And the range, the softer ski, for instance, will be for a beginner skier. The stiffer ski, they have a little better technique, so they can collapse that ski a little easier. And that's going to be a little faster. That'll glide a little bit better. So those are the kinds of things that go into our determining, you know, what's the best ski for our customer.
Well, that's great because that, you know, it's one of those sports that, you know, it's very easy to get into.
It is.
And then as you improve your technique, just like as with everything else, but that's where, again, coming in, chatting with you guys at Gorham Bike and Ski and saying, hey, what do I need for me?
Yeah.
You know, and if you have someone who says, I'm going to ski 3 times a year, you might look at it differently from someone who says, yeah, I'm planning on going out every day, you know, for the next 3 months, and figuring out, you know, that ski.
Well, and, you know, we've got a lot of people that are retiring up here, and I'm sure they have, you know, something in their mind as to what their retirement's going to be like. Usually it's pretty active. That's why they chose this area. And a lot of people are trying to get into the cross-country skiing thing. So for me, I always look at someone that, and I try to ask the question, you know, where do you see yourself next year? Do you want to use this, you know, as kind of a bridge? Maybe during the off-season, summer, they're bicyclists.
Right.
And they want something to keep them physically active. Cross-country skiing is perfect for that. It's a real cardio workout, and that's really going to supplement your conditioning for your other activities.
Yeah.
So I don't want to send them out with a really heavy, you know, low-end ski if really they're going to be out there regularly.
Oh, exactly.
Because it's not going to be quite as much fun. You're not going to have that glide. It's not going to feel like it's as fast to ski. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, come in looking for one ski. A friend has this, and they'll leave with a totally different ski based on that interviewing process.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Jack, it's so great to see you. And do want to let you know that Jack brought some stuff, and we're going to give those away, not today because we got a bunch of stuff today, but because we want to make sure we can feature that for you. But thank you so much for bringing stuff down from Gorham Bike. What did you bring? You brought a Fisher
hoodie, large, and a neckie.
And a neckie. So we're going to give those away on a different day, just to make it fun, to keep talking about you guys. So,
and thanks again for Fisher for giving me that stuff.
Absolutely. And so what are the hours down there at Gorham Bike and Ski?
Pretty much 9 to 5. Our hours are a little shorter on Sunday, but 9 to 5.
And just go in and say, hey. And sometimes you may have to wait a little while, but it's worth waiting because then you're going to get the experience and the knowledge that you need to get you properly outfitted.
And there's a lot of stuff to look at to pass the time.
Oh, it's so much. It's one of those. I love just going in and looking at all the equipment. And you know, with nothing, I don't want someone from downhill is going to get back at me. You know, downhill skis to me are pretty similar, but the cross country, the Nordic skis, you just see this variety, like you say, the length and the width. And I love picking up the lightweight ones and go, whoa!
It is a lot of fun. Some of the poles are the same way.
Yeah.
We've got some poles there that are on the World Cup, and yeah, they're super lightweight.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, Jack, again, thanks so much, and Happy
Thanks,
New
Rob.
Year. And we'll see you soon.
That sounds great. Happy New Year to you and to everyone out there.
And we'll be back here in a minute on White Mountains Today.